yours. Okay, you're a little bit, yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Can you hear me? Anybody out there? My audio's good?
There we go. Yeah, yeah. I can hear you better.
Oh, okay, okay. Hold on. Give me a quick second. I'm gonna check something out. Give me a quick second. Da-da. All right. Test, test, test. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Am I good right now?
Yeah, good, good.
Perfect, 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 perfect. Shouts out to Dylan right here in the chat. Appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate you for showing love. Um, let's get started, man. Let's get started with the subject that we forgot to cover last time, and that was my bad. Your boy was not running on the best sleep schedule. But let's touch on dude that we were supposed to touch on, last episode. No Diddy, no Diddy, no Diddy, of course. Uh the Ant-Man. The Ant-Man himself, dog.
Yep, yep.
How do you feel about Anthony Edwards, especially after that comeback, that low-key comeback that Denver did, fam? Talk to the people, man. How do you feel about Ant? I'm a big fan of Ant, man.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan since the beginning of the season. Um,
Hmm.
just the way he plays, he looks like he plays like he enjoys it. He's not there to just to collect the paycheck, but he's there. He enjoys the game. He enjoys playing. And then at the All Star break, I was cheesed. This is the first All Star game I watched in a while, and
Oh, I
it
can
was,
imagine.
oh, I was so cheesed that he didn't play that much. But afterwards, in an interview, he was saying that he didn't want to play that much because nobody was really taking it serious, right? It was all joking
Yes.
around. Like, so what's the point? You're supposed to be competing against the best players. So I respected him even more for saying that stuff. So no, I'm a huge fan of that.
If we're keeping it all ill right now, nobody really tries in the All Star game. And it's so disappointing because every time we used to watch the All Star game, like when I started getting into ball in the early 2000s,
Mhm.
you would see that people would take it so serious. The players take it serious in the fourth quarter. Allen Iverson would take it serious. Kobe takes it serious. Kevin Garnett would take it serious. And what I really like about this youngin, Ant Man and Anthony Edwards, he takes the game so serious. You can tell when he's on the court,
Yep.
it's life or death. And I'm like, yes, this is the passion we need in ball. That's what we need.
Exactly, exactly. And that, like, it's an All-Star game. Yes, it's a chance for the players to kind of relax and enjoy themselves, but the game itself is meant to be showcasing why the NBA is the NBA, right? It's not meant
Yes.
just like a fun weekend for them to go around because how much are tickets to that All-Star game, All-Star weekend? Like, you're spending a lot of money for these guys to joke around. So, like, nah, it
Yeah,
was crazy.
it's absolutely nuts, my man. And I'm thinking, like, damn, they're spending all this money and they're not going off. Now, what I will say though, it's interesting to see, unfortunately, what's happening now with a lot of blowouts. We were kind of talking about this before the show started,
Hmm.
right? The All Star game is so non competitive. There's going to be like maybe one or two people who actually try to get that MVP and actually put in a lot of effort. But then you'll see a lot of people not even trying. And this leads us to the conversation we got to talk about tonight or right now. The Knicks. Knicks versus Pacers, brother.
Hmm.
We saw it today. By the way, shout out to everybody who's tuning in. Slap a like when you come in. We really appreciate y'all tapping in and showing love to Unc and Phew, Jefe and Big Steppa out here. We got to talk about it. Knicks versus Pacers, man. Absolute blowout, family.
Yeah, that was
Absolute blowout.
crazy.
Nuts. And it started in the first quarter, brother. How do you
Mhm.
feel about this game if you got a chance to see it, bro?
I didn't get a chance to see it, but like we were talking earlier, like you said, it
Yeah.
seems like it's a back and forth. One team, one game blows the other team out, and then vice
Mm.
versa. And so it almost makes it look telegraphed. There's all those rumors saying that the NBA's rigged, all that stuff. But
Yes.
this doesn't help it. This doesn't help it at all.
No, not at all. And then if you just look down the stat line, man, where's you know what? You know what's funny? I actually, on purpose, I put Jalen Brunson as a thumbnail and the whole title of this entire podcast, right?
Mhm.
And guess what Jalen Brunson did, bro? The homie does 18 points. I'm like, damn.
He was going off
The
the last couple of
only
games too.
episode,
Yeah,
like, bruh,
yeah,
Dante DiVincenzo, 7 buckets. Josh Hart, 2 points. And they were killing it, man.
yeah.
Killing it. I'm like, damn, what's going on, my boy, man? But I will give credit where credit is due. The Pacers did work. You know what I mean? Halliburton with a 20 piece, TJ McConnell, 15. I saw some
Mhm.
of the game, not all of it, and then I saw the highlights after. I was impressed. Siakam, people were getting buckets on the Pacers. Tied 2-2. It's interesting. By the way, shout out to YTM. Welcome to the chat. Appreciate you for coming in. You know what I mean? Do I deserve a party host for joining? I'm not even sure what that means.
That's some of my staff joining up there.
Oh, gotcha. You might get an extra high five. I don't know.
Maybe a shift or two.
Yes, sir. Oh man. Um. Hmm. Not too sure where Hefe's at. He might join back in a bit. Having a little bit of issue. Homie's back.
I'm back.
Glad to see you back, family. Question for you, brother.
Hmm.
How do you feel this series goes, man? Knicks versus Pacers. It's almost classic because the Knicks and Pacers have history,
Yeah,
especially in the playoffs, Reggie Miller days. How do you feel this goes, man?
it's funny because like we touched on this last time how I was a fan of Jalen Rose playing in Indiana. Reggie
Mm,
Miller being a pure shooter. And back in those days too, he owned the Knicks for a little bit of time, but I
yeah.
think overall I'm gonna have to go with the Knicks on this one, just to finish out the game,
Mm,
finish out the series, and maybe in seven. I don't say that very often that games are gonna go 7 games, but yeah, I think the Knicks will take this one.
I think it'll be very entertaining too.
Hmm.
My only problem with it, even though I'm kind of rooting for the Knicks because I like what they're doing, I'm a fan of Brunson because Brunson low key has been the best player in the East, especially if you look at what he's done in the season and the
Hmm.
playoffs. But what concerns me, man, is how many minutes a lot of these guys get. Like Josh Hart, he was playing 4 games without
Yeah,
taking any rest. You have Brunson who's playing 40 minutes regularly. Like that adds up in the playoffs, family.
yeah,
So
it does.
hopefully they figure it out because I'm like, damn, all that pressure. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
And that's the thing, right? With the experience, we touched on that last week. The experience of
Mm,
these young teams, to push themselves. The each game is their last type of thing, and then it's. But if they're not used to doing that during the regular season, because they're not like the load management and all that stuff. But playoffs is a
yeah,
different beast, right? The pressure, the fans, the atmosphere. It's just a big different energy boost that you get. So yeah, well, hopefully they understand that and they don't wear themselves out before game 7.
that would be crazy. You know who's wearing people out, man? We got to talk about this dude. Kevin Durant, because now it's a weekly segment, dog. This is the Kevin Durant segment of the podcast.
Oh
The
man.
coach killer, Kevin Durant, he killed Frank Vogel, brother. Frank Vogel 1 season with the Phoenix
Makes
Suns,
sense.
quickly got fired, brother.
Hmm.
How do we feel about this? How do we feel? How do you feel about this, bro?
It's and that's the league nowadays. The superstars run the teams. If they don't superstars don't perform, who do you have as a scapegoat? It's the coach, right? We've seen that.
Yeah.
We've seen that other places. I'm not going to mention where, um,
Oh,
but
I
we've
know
seen
you
that.
want to say it. I know you want to say it, man.
You
Say it
know,
anyways,
all
bro.
right, right
I'm
with the
ready.
Lakers. Was it Darvin Ham's fault? That what happened in the Lakers? Nah, but these players, that's the thing. The players are getting paid millions upon millions to perform. When they don't show up, it's just basketball. So it's frustrating to see that the coaches get the heave ho after, especially this guy after 1 season. Like, come on,
Yeah.
where's Devin Booker? Devin Booker is supposed to be the face of the league a couple years ago, right? He was the man, up and coming man, and it's just like, nah, these guys get paid too much to be pampered. And the big three again didn't work out. So
Mm, I really feel bad
yeah,
for my bad, Frank Vogel, man,
Google, yeah.
because he didn't put this team together, man.
Hmm.
They had no point guard. They didn't have any real defense. They didn't have a strong big man. And this is kind of similar to what happened with him with the Lakers, man.
Hmm.
Because I remember Frank Vogel and the Lakers, they won the bubble championship. Now, regardless of what people say, I think the bubble championship was cool because you're isolated. You don't have any distractions. You have to stay in a literal bubble and win. And I thought that win was so valid. Then the Lakers, what they did is they got Russell Westbrook, and I love Westbrook, but Westbrook was not a good fit with the Lakers. And guess
Yeah.
who they blamed after they started losing?
Hmm.
This dude, Frank Vogel,
Hmm.
got fired. And then Darvin Ham comes in, and Darvin Ham takes him to the Western Conference Finals just to get fired the next season because LeBron and AD didn't hoop. Austin Reeves can't defend. A lot of Lakers players were hit and miss, like D'Lo. They're a lot of the superstars. They're blaming it on the coaches.
Hmm.
Chat, let me know. How do y'all feel in the chat about superstars and coaches getting scapegoated, fam? Did this ever happen back in the day, fam? Hefe, is there any kind of
No,
reference, or were coaches always just super secure?
coaches were there. Like,
Mm,
feel like, well, you're talking about great coaches as well. It wasn't as televised as it is now with social media and all that stuff,
mm,
making it bigger than it is. But coaches were given a contract. You were told,
mm,
okay, you have this much. Do you have any players that you want? So they traded for the players that they wanted instead of the players trading themselves to the teams that they want to play for, right? Oh, I'm coming here, but
mm.
you're gonna give me these two more players that I want. Like you said, Westbrook wasn't a good fit with the Lakers, and I love
Not a,
Westbrook. Westbrook is still probably one of my favorite players still now. Um,
mm,
you know, but
me too.
it's unfortunate that they're able to do that now with the scapegoating of the coaches because there's no accountability for the superstars. Look at what Ant said when they lost. He's like, This loss is on me." He's like, "I
He
didn't show
said it
up.
was on him.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't show up. I didn't do what I do." And that's prime example of leadership to me. So he's the superstar. He's the face of that team. Soon to be the face of the league. And for him to
mm,
make a comment like that, much more respect on his name.
I feel that too because at the end of the day, the coach is not on the court for you.
Hmm.
The coach is there to draw up plays that y'all have already seen a million times. The coach is there to motivate you with a speech that he said a million times.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? The
Exactly.
coach he's not reinventing the wheel, fam.
No.
At a certain point, you have to decide I'm that player, I'm that dude, I'm Kevin Durant, and I'm not going to get swept. And the crazy stat that I learned is that KD has had 6 different coaches in 6 years, or like some crazy stat like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, is he a coach killer? Oh,
Yeah, that's
what?
bad. Like, and that's the thing. Look at James Harden, right? James Harden, we don't talk about as much. Maybe he's not a coach killer, but he he he's not a good player to play with. Like every team he goes to, he just doesn't seem to gel with anybody. Like he gets traded over here, he gets traded for this, and he asks, "Oh, trade this person," you know. But it's just I don't know. These players nowadays, they feel like people have to play with them instead of making their teams better. And that's the biggest difference for me is seeing back in the '90s when I watched is
Mm,
you make your team better as a whole. You don't just try to pick apart the guys that you don't want. No, you run them into the ground until they get better. So, but I don't
mm.
know. It's a different mentality now.
You know who has a crazy mentality is the three-time MVP. The
The
three-time
Joker.
MVP, man. The Joker,
Hmm.
Jokic. I'm gonna say something controversial. I don't care what nobody says. SGA should have won that MVP. SGA should have won that MVP, bro. I
Yeah.
know he hasn't been playing the way he's supposed to be playing. I have a group chat of homies who literally cook me because I'm an SGA apologist, defender, and all these things. But this three-time MVP Jokic, he's joining a lot of big men and a small list of people
Hmm.
who've actually won MVP three times. I believe he's joining Wilt Chamberlain, he's joining LeBron, he's joining MJ, he's joining, I believe, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. I think also Kareem is some of the few players who've
Hmm.
gotten MVP
Three
three
times.
times, and he's won MVP 3 of the last 4 years, brother.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Joker running with another MVP award, fam?
You know, I didn't see enough of the regular season
Hmm.
to really say that he deserves it or he doesn't. Um,
Hmm.
but the one thing with Shea is that when you look at MVP for the regular season, you got to look at where your team finishes, right?
Yeah.
Joker's team didn't finish number one, right? OKC finished number one. Their team was playing great chemistry basketball, so that's the
Sir.
stuff that they got to see to really say who the MVP of the league is. Is it somewhat rigged? Is it a popularity vote? Of course it is,
Mm.
right? There's always
Yeah.
aspects like that to that. Is Shea ready to be the face of the NBA? Probably not. But with Joker, they have that whole oh he's lovable, he's a big jokester, da da da. So it's good
Mhm.
for the brand, and that's what you got to take into account nowadays is that it's about the brand of the NBA, right? Entertainment value.
Yeah.
Not that he's not a phenomenal player because this guy's ridiculous, but especially for a big man. But he doesn't play defense. Look at the
Not at
game, right?
all. Not a
Game
lick of
two,
defense, fam.
game two of the Nuggets, like game two of the series, like
Yeah.
Ant was cooking, and I what's his name, Aaron Gordon. Man, I'm a
Mm.
fan of Aaron Gordon, and he was playing well
Also,
defense on Ant. But as soon as Ant
yeah.
went by him, where was the help? Jokic just watching him do a layup or watching him dunk. You know, MVP, you got to play on both ends. So,
Mm.
but it is what it is. Maybe next year, if Shea continues to play the way he is, or maybe even Ant, maybe Ant is in the running next year, right? So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I like SGA because he definitely plays both ways.
Hmm.
He's, I think, top five in steals and obviously number one or two in points. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So he's working on both sides of the ball. I
Yeah.
really like that. And as great as Jokic is, man, he's just an offensive guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like damn, you know what I mean? Like, let's balance it out. Let's have you, really buck some players. Let's say,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm in
No.
between about it. But we'll see what happens. Like you just said, man, there's a possibility that SGA comes back next year for that revenge.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
And that's a scary thought too.
Oh, that'd be nuts, huh?
Hmm.
I want to get your opinion on this, man. And more specifically, I know you're gonna get triggered. You might get triggered, fam. You might get triggered.
Let's see.
So recently, Byron, I believe
Ooh,
Byron
Byron Scott.
Scott.
Hmm.
Byron Scott. You heard about that, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Byron Scott was on Undisputed, and he made a suggestion that the Lakers go do something that's never been done since, I believe, the the 70s or 80s or something like that, like
Yeah.
way back in the day, that they make LeBron a player coach. Now, I'm gonna give you some background. Byron Scott was obviously a legend for the Lakers. He was there during the Showtime era. And Byron Scott also coached the Lakers, I believe, in Kobe's last year, somewhere like 2009 or 2008, so somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a really great record. I think he got fired after 2 or 3 seasons, something
Seasons.
like that. Lakers have been really bad at hiring coaches. At least what I've noticed is they don't commit to coaches. Irregardless of that, he suggested that LeBron is a player coach.
Mm-hmm.
What? And then I had to search up the history of the NBA. I'm like, this was a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a common thing back in the day. How do you
Yeah.
feel about that, fam? A player coach.
To
Crazy.
be honest, in this day and age, there's no real reason to do that, right? You have
Mhm.
so many coaches that know what they're doing, that are
Yeah.
more than capable of coaching. Um, However, he does make an interesting suggestion to have LeBron be the player coach, but at the same time, who is he going to blame when they lose? He's he's he's
Wow.
he's he's not going to have anybody to blame. So I don't think it'll
Mhm.
ever come to fruition where he does that.
Mm.
If imagine if he did, how is that going to affect his legacy? If they don't win a championship as a player, his basketball IQ is next level, but
Yeah.
can he translate that into coaching? Because it's not the same. Coaching and playing is not the same, and a lot of
No.
players think they can coach, but it doesn't translate always well. And look at the Lakers. Like you said, Byron Scott. They had
Mm.
what's the other guy's name? Walton's son, the Walton guy.
Luke Walton.
Yeah,
Yeah. He
Luke
coached
Walton
the
Jr.
Lakers for
He
a bit.
coached the Lakers. He was a player. Like it doesn't always translate well. But look at coaches or look at players to GMs, right? Like Jerry
Mm.
West, phenomenal GM for the Lakers.
Amazing GM. Yeah.
Up until recently with with his coaching and player decisions. But is it his fault that LeBron's running the Lakers at this point, like everybody says? You know, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's a funny suggestion. I don't know if he said it just to be controversial, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
Do you think he was trolling? I think it was bullshit, man.
Yeah, I think a little bit of a troll for sure. It's like I said, controversial thing to say because like imagine in this era, like we have a player coach, and of course it's gonna be LeBron. Who else is it gonna be? Is it gonna be KD? No. Is it gonna be Steph? No. It has to be LeBron, right? So, but yeah, no, I don't think it'll ever come true.
I personally don't even think it's possible under this their collective
Either.
bargaining agreement. I don't even think it's possible, period. I personally think he was trolling. You
Hmm.
know why? Because these coaches or ex-coaches, they have group chats. They're homies. They
Oh, 100%.
probably talk. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So maybe Byron Scott was hearing some of the rumors about LeBron and said, okay, LeBron runs the Lakers anyways. Why doesn't he coach? Right?
Hmm.
Because as much as James Gang, I'm a LeBron guy, man. Y'all
Hmm.
know this. I'm not gonna hide my bias. I'm just gonna spit my facts. LeBron has an issue with keeping coaches right now,
Yeah.
especially in the later half of his career because he's 39. He's established. I personally think he's the GOAT, but he's the guy who it's hard to coach somebody who is so good and so elite at that level. That's why it's very rare when you have a guy like Phil Jackson, Pat
Hmm.
Riley, guys who are GOATs who are able to control egos. And you need generational coaches to do that. So to get LeBron to follow a coach and respect him is very, very rare. That's why Ty Lue was so good
Hmm.
with LeBron. It was so rare. So that's what I'm saying. I think Byron Scott was trolling, man. I think he was making some kind of statement, controversy to say, bruh, you already run this team. Might as well run, the
Yeah.
timeouts, the play calling. Do you think it's possible it was he was like a tongue in cheek, like, yeah. What do
Like you said, it was statement, especially doing it on Undisputed. Like, that would be the forum to do it in.
Mm.
right? But yeah, like you said, like come on, is JJ Redick gonna do any better just because he homies with LeBron? So he's there for a paycheck, which is it is what it is. But the one thing
Yeah.
about Redick, like he mentioned, because of course he's a LeBron guy, right? He doesn't think the '90s were anything. Water. I think he said in one podcast that he did, he said that the '90s were watered down because there were six teams that were added in Jordan's era. So he's like, "Oh, isn't that watered down?" I'm like, "Well, that's kind of funny considering one of those teams drafted him in his first year." So I'm like, if it
Yeah.
wasn't for those teams, you would have never made the league. So but it is
Mm.
what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I He could have been trolling, maybe went a little bit too excessive on it, but yeah, there's no way LeBron's going to be the player coach.
That would be ridiculous. I don't want to see it. I personally want to see Todd like as you see on the screen right now. We're looking
Mm-hmm.
at the list of Laker coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the recent years, and Phil Jackson is the only real constant stronghold from 2005 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, they've had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven different coaches since 2011. Man, that's
When
not
did LeBron
few.
join the Lakers?
He joined, I believe, in 2017 or 18, like around here, around Luke
Okay,
Walton's
yeah,
time. And Luke Walton quickly got fired or dismissed when
yeah,
LeBron came. Like it was like almost instantly. So you're
instantly,
looking, yeah, it's
yeah.
almost like where's Luke Walton at?
It
But
was
you're
like,
looking at a team that's had seven different coaches since 2011. I'm like,
mm,
damn, that's it's not that
that's great,
stable.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But look, yeah, 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, 2 years, 3 years, and then Frank Vogel for 3 years. Like they don't, is it a coaching thing? Do the coaches not want to commit? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they don't want to commit to a 5 6 year coaching deal if they're not going to be able to control the players, right?
Yeah.
Like Phil Jackson, everybody says, "Oh, Kobe had Phil Jackson, Michael had Phil Jackson," but as a coach, you know,
Mm,
you control the egos, but nobody's been able to
yes.
control LeBron, except like you said on and the Miami Heat coach, and that's why he left. Right? He didn't get along with the coach.
Mm,
Pat Riley said, "No, I'm not firing him," and LeBron's like, "Fine,
mhm.
I'm going back to Cleveland." So I think that was the last time that happened.
That's a fact. And for me, I'm thinking in my mind, as much as I'm LeBron, gang, you know what I mean? I'm a big LeBron guy. If they hire JJ Redick, I will hate it because it's gonna look like this. Remember this?
Oh man,
Do you
yeah,
remember this era?
yep.
Do you
Mm,
remember
yeah.
this, my man?
That was unfortunate. But is it again? Was it Steve Nash's fault? Maybe maybe he didn't know how to coach the egos. Being
Mm,
Steve Nash, 2-time MVP, all that stuff. Different being a player than it is a coach. So,
yes.
but Kyrie's talk about egos. Kyrie's up there with the with the rest of them. So
You know
no
what's
no
crazy?
Kyrie hate, no Kyrie hate. He's actually doing phenomenal this year. So he's
He's
changing my mind. Yeah,
killing it. He's killing it, and he's with Jason Kidd, who's actually
yeah.
a pretty good coach,
Hmm.
great player, and actually a great coach. Rare combination, because there was a time. Let me show you this dude. Actually, you might know this guy. This guy might be a familiar face who coached for a bit and flopped absolutely badly, man. Let me show you this guy who you might recognize a little bit.
Oh my
This
god.
dude. Do you remember he coached?
No, actually, I totally forgot that. I'm sure there's a reason why I forgot.
Yeah, he coached for the Lakers for like one or two seasons, and he was absolutely horrible. He
Hmm.
was really, really bad. Being a great player and a great coach, they don't usually go together, man. It's
Hmm.
actually very rare that you have a great player and a coach.
Hmm.
Usually, the best coaches are guys who like were riding the bench, actually. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Great IQs, the team chemistry, team sport. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for me, in my mind, I'm like, damn. If we have a situation where JJ Redick gets hired, this is what's gonna be. because I knew Steve Nash was not really running the team,
Hmm.
but it was basically the all stars, the superstars of the team that said, "Yo, we're gonna run the team, and you're gonna be the mouthpiece." But that was such a failure because I really liked Brooklyn and how strong they looked, but they flopped
They flopped.
so bad, man,
Yeah.
so bad.
See, for me, I'm never have been a big KD fan,
Mm,
or a Kyrie fan. But the
gotcha.
worst of the three of them is Harden. I find Harden to be, I don't want to say overrated, but he just seems like he is a problem wherever he goes for his teammates. So
Yeah,
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I don't know. That's just my point of view. So wherever he goes, it seems to be like he can't mesh with it. So, um, but I don't know. Nobody knows what happened in Brooklyn because those three together should have been, what OKC was in the younger days with their big three. So I don't know.
yeah. I would expect them to have a lot of rings, the same way I expect this guy to have rings, man.
Hmm.
What's going on with this dude?
Oh, man.
By the way, shout out to Marcus coming in the chat. Appreciate you. You know what I mean? Another person here for Unc.
Hmm.
Popular guy.
Yeah, no, Tatum is, again, he's not showing up, and that was what I was afraid of, that he's not consistent enough, right? And that's
Yeah,
his biggest flaw. When you talk about Tatum, it's not that he's not talented, he's just not consistent, and that's the biggest issue with him. And they should have not even lost to Cleveland. Maybe one
no,
close
not at all.
game, but they shouldn't have lost. They shouldn't have got blown out the way they did. That's crazy.
Interestingly enough, game three, Tatum showed up, which
Hmm.
was yesterday. This is a good score. This is what we like to see. It actually wasn't
Hmm.
even this close. If you watch the game, I watched the game last night, and it wasn't even that close. It was basically a blowout since halftime. When got to the third, Tatum actually showed up this time, 33 points, 13 boards, 42 minutes. This dude was hooping. He was
Hmm.
playing all game pretty much. Jalen Brown did his thing too.
Yeah.
Derek White came to eat too. Drew Holiday, who I really, really like. I really like Drew Holiday a
Hmm.
lot. He came to the ball too. It was a great Tatum game. But like
Hmm.
you said, brother, the consistency. When are we going to see it night after night?
Yeah. And
Do you
getting
think
it.
that? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, if he doesn't get it together by the conference, like the finals, they're not gonna win. So he has to figure something out. Whether it's, I don't even know what to say. He just needs to figure that consistency part out. They will do well if once he does. Well, I guess better than what they're doing, but yeah, he'll be a force to be reckoned with in the future years if he can become consistent. That's his biggest problem.
Absolutely. Somebody that's been really, really consistent, and this is a dark horse team. It's not even really dark horse because these two right here have been actually balling the hell out, and they've inspired me. I'm not even a big fan
Hmm.
of Luca. I really like Kyrie a lot, but I'm not a huge Luca guy.
Hmm.
But even he's inspiring me, man.
Yeah.
Going for hard, going for steals, hustling for the ball,
Hmm.
helping a lot on the defensive end. And then you have Kyrie being Kyrie. We had a very, very great game yesterday. Mavs versus Dallas. Mavs are leading right now.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And who expected that? Literally came
Yeah.
to the last second shots. How do you feel about
Next
this
one.
series, brother? We're gonna go through all the series very soon, and then we're gonna give our predictions on how it's gonna look. What do you think about this one? I have
No,
a feeling it could go seven, brother. How do you feel?
yeah, I'm the same. I think it'll probably go seven, but with Luca and Kyrie, like I think Luca finally um got the understanding that he has somebody that he can trust to score. So he's like, you know what? Let me concentrate on some D. Let me concentrate on some hustle plays, all the stat sheets, the stuff that other people don't care about, right? Those are the plays, the small little plays like that are gonna win you games. And he finally has somebody that can take over the scoring in Kyrie, because we all know Kyrie can ball. So
Yes, sir.
he's concentrating on other things and he's leading his team in other areas, which is great to see. Because again, here's a European player that is known not to play defense, right? He's an offensive guy, but he's
Yeah,
showing that he can play. He can play defense. So that's something that I want Joker to do, and show the fact that he can play defense. Is it's not that he just doesn't want to play defense. So, but yeah, this series is exciting.
very, very exciting. By the way, shout out to Alexander. Let me
Right.
highlight Alexander in the chat. Hey, Mauricio, the authority of basketball knowledge. Shout out to Unc, man. He knows his stuff, man. He can ball out, man. He can ball
Yeah.
out. And we have a let's go. James Gang, strive for greatness. Real, you know what I
Yo,
mean? You know what you're
I'm I'm
talking about.
I'm surprised Marcus hasn't said anything about LeBron already.
Marcus is getting called out in the chat,
Yeah,
man. We
you
need
know.
Marcus. James Gang in the building, man. At 39 years old, this dude is balling the hell out. But unfortunately, he's not in the playoffs. Sad face. But we are getting quality basketball right now. Like Unc just said,
Hmm.
Doncic, 15 boards. That's what we need. Hustle on the glass.
Hmm.
22 points. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't need you to get that many points. We have
Hmm.
PJ Washington, who's actually having an amazing
Hmm.
series.
Yeah.
He's hustling. And, that's the thing about basketball, man. It's about elevating and showing up in the playoffs. You make your name in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Alexander just said right here, mm, no, he's not. MJ is the GOAT.
He
No,
flopped
he's
this
not.
year. He flopped this year. But you know, the
I
debate
will
will
say
always be
this.
there.
I will say this. MJ always showed up in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Always showed up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna give to Michael Jeffrey Jordan. We're on the chat. Marcus knows what he's talking about. Shout out Marcus.
What
You
do you
know what I
say?
mean? We appreciate you for coming in. Let me tell y'all something, man. This has been such a fun playoffs to really talk about and react to. We're gonna go series by series. You feel me? Series by series before we end off the podcast today. And we're gonna see what we think, you know what I mean, about each series and how we believe it's gonna end. Starting off with Boston versus the Celtics. And for me, in my eyes, I think Boston is going to wrap this up in five. Gentlemen sweep. Uh, I don't see them fumbling another game this series. How do you feel about it, Ankh? What's your point of view, brother?
You know, I want to say Boston in five.
Mm,
I'm just scared to say that with Tatum being inconsistent. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm gonna say Boston in six.
Boston and how many, brother?
In six.
And six and
Yeah.
six. So you give
Cleveland.
Cleveland one more game.
You can't count out Spider Man. Spider is a phenomenal player, so
Yes, yes.
he may pull one more off.
You know. I rock with it. I rock with it. So we got some Tatum truthers right here, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call Alexander a Tatum truther, man.
Yeah.
He's telling the truth about Tatum. Legendary choke artist. We saw
Mhm.
that versus Miami last year,
Mhm.
dog. And then we have Boston Love right here from Rio. I do not speak Japanese, but I don't know what that means. So I'm a
It
pass
probably
it
says
to you.
LeBron is the best.
There you go. I appreciate that. I appreciate that comment. Thank you very much. Let's talk about this one. We kind of just passed by. We're both thinking seven. Are you giving the edge to the Mavs or OKC, brother?
I'm gonna give it to the Mavs just for experience, right?
Mm,
You can't count that out. OKC is a young team, um, but and they're playing phenomenal all season. They were
yes.
great, but it comes down to being experienced in the playoffs, right? Having Kyrie, having Luca, already been there, already done that. So I think they're gonna pull it off in seven. It'll be close, nice close games, hopefully. No more
Mm,
blowouts, but I would say Dallas in seven for sure.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna go a little bit against you on this one. I'm gonna go personally with OKC. because they're actually statistically the youngest team in the league, like
Hmm.
25 and younger. Most of the team is like Shea is one of the oldest players on the team, and Shea is 25.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, and he's a
For
vet on the team.
yeah,
What?
for them
How
to be
you a vet
balling
at
like
25?
that, yeah, that's crazy.
I think this guy, like we just showed a second ago, will be a huge X factor.
Hmm.
Jason Kidd is a great coach, and his way of coaching is gonna really come, gonna be really important, especially in like a game 6, game 7 scenario. Will he call the right timeouts? Will he draw up a play for Kyrie to put
Hmm.
a game-winning shot up there? Will he run a play for PJ? For PJ Washington? Like, there's a lot of factors that get into this, and it's gonna be very interesting, man. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. But we got to talk about, I think, potentially the best series because I thought it was over, but
yeah.
it's
So
not
did
over.
everybody else.
Far
Yeah.
from over. How do you feel about this one, the big one, the big baby?
I gotta go with my boy Ant. I want Ant to win.
Me
Um,
too.
I want Minnesota to win this, but will he has to show up, right? Ant
Yeah.
is the leader of that team. He's the floor general. You can see it in the mic ups, the highlights and stuff like that of them being mic'd up. He's directing people. He's doing everything he needs to do, and I just
Hmm.
hope it's enough because the Nuggets aren't gonna back away. They're not gonna just be like, okay, yeah, go ahead, it's your turn now. No, they're gonna make it a game for sure. So, but yeah, if Ant can pull this off and beat the Nuggets, then LeBron who is what I'm gonna say next year. LeBron who,
Oh,
you know.
oh, blasphemy! Oh my God! I,
I had to
I
say it.
know
I had to say it.
Alexander. You have another fellow LeBron hater in the chat, so
Hmm.
y'all are
Hmm.
gonna y'all can't wait to dethrone the king. Oh my God!
I think the
Hey
Joker
man,
did that already, right?
well, you know what? I'll say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this right quick. LeBron is way past his prime, but he's way past his prime, giving you 25, 7 and 8, or eight and
Hmm.
seven, regardless.
Yeah, I'll give him
If
that for sure.
that's if that's what you're doing in your 20th season, F it. Just draft your
Mm.
son. Draft your
Yeah,
son. Put him on your team. Who cares?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, for
Draft
sure.
your son. We don't care now, man.
And that's the funny thing because I was like, just imagine, being
Mm,
LeBron is season being that old. But
yeah.
would he have ever thought that what I might be able to play in the NBA with my son? Like, would that
Wow.
was that ever a thought in his mind? Probably not. But
No.
like, he can still go down probably another 3 years, 4 years, but
Yes.
everybody's still gonna remember him as in his prime, right? Scoring the 30 points, whatever. But will it hurt his legacy if he stays that long? I honestly, personally, don't think so. If I was LeBron, I would try my hardest to stay in the league. Maybe not put up the numbers that he's putting up now, but he can just be a
Hmm.
role player. But I don't think his ego will allow him to do that. I think he's still going to want to put up the numbers and then play with his son to show the fact that he can still play at that level for that long. But it would be
Hmm.
amazing to see a father son in the league together like them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Bronny overhyped? Yes, he is, but it's not his fault. It's not his fault. But it would be like I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but I would actually love to see this. I would love to see this. Just as a dad, seeing
No,
like
I
if
love
I
it.
ever had a chance to play with my kids in a sport that I've been playing for that long, man, that would be amazing. But it is what it is.
Oh man, it's a definitely a beautiful thing. I'm not a dad, but I can probably feel that sentiment too of having to play with your pops, or you know what I mean. All
Hmm.
these things are great. By the way, another great thing is Marcus. Marcus, you're great for giving us a super sticker. Appreciate your support, man. We're gonna be doing this weekly throughout the playoffs. I'm still gonna defend LeBron, and Hefe is still gonna be on my ass about it,
Yeah,
but it's okay.
yeah.
It's okay. This is what
The
this
the
is what
further
y'all came for to watch, and
exactly.
we still gonna give you what you need. You know what I mean?
The further we get away from the first round, the further we'll talk about LeBron.
There we go. There we go. What do you feel about this one, brother? This is This is giving me old school '90s vibe, brother. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right. I was
Tie
thinking the
series,
exact
man.
same thing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was just like,
yeah.
this is besides being like, the blowouts like we were talking about earlier, being back and forth blowouts. Besides that, it does remind me Indiana, New York of the old school days, but
Mm.
not as physical, not as rough, not as crazy. Um, but actually, like both teams balling out and making it a good, fun series to watch.
Do you think it goes seven, my man?
I'm gonna say no. I think Knicks in six.
Ooh, Knicks in
Yeah,
six.
Knicks in six. But
Oh,
like you were saying, Bronson is just man. I don't even know what to say about this kid. But I
yeah,
don't know.
man.
I want Siakam to have a good series, um,
Mhm.
just so he can take that into next season. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say Knicks in six.
You know what I really like about Brunson is his ball handling. Like that's something
Hmm.
that people don't recognize. But the way he handles the ball, it's like on the string on his hand,
Hmm.
and he's able to make space out of no space. Like he doesn't have the crazy Kyrie handle,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
But
But
he doesn't
he
need it.
does
Hmm.
exactly
Doesn't need it.
facts. Dude just gets that ball, creates space, gets a jumper out of nowhere. He has range too, so he's shooting threes. But he's so quick with the dribble too that
Hmm.
he makes space to go for that lefty layup, the right layup. Like he has a bag, fam. He has a
Yeah,
bag.
100%. What's funny is that he's a lefty, right? He's a shooter lefty. So
Oh,
as a
he's a lefty. Yeah,
he's
you're
yeah.
right. Whoa.
So it trips people up when you're playing defense on them. Um, you go, it's just I don't know. Me, whenever I played with against a left-hander, it was weird because you always try to block the right
Yes.
hand, and then you're like,
Yes.
wait, I gotta switch over. So that does that help him? Yeah, probably not. It's all like ridiculousness, but no, he's been playing phenomenal for sure.
I fully agree. By the way, shout out to Ryu in the chat, man.
Ah,
Jordan had no left. Tell him. We're speaking facts tonight, brother. We're
oh
spitting
wait! Don't make me pull up those numbers.
facts.
How many dunks did he
Oh
have
my
with his left
god.
hand? Huh? Don't remember where he went this way and then with the left hand against the
And then he
Lakers.
switched it. He
Hmm.
switched it midair. Yup, I remember
Iconic.
that. I
Come on,
remember
man. No
that.
left. Come on now. Y'all are just reaching at this point.
We will investigate next episode. Did Jordan actually have a left? We will investigate, brother,
Hmm.
because he's looking sus. Okay. And by the way, shout out to Ryu again for speaking the truth. Okay. And the truth will set you free, Hefe. You will understand the truth. We are Jordan truthers in this, man.
Mm.
He had no left. Preach.
Nah, you guys are crazy.
Oh man. But let's get back to the real topic here. Personally, when we're talking about the Pacers and the Knicks. I'm gonna go seven. Personally, I believe it will go seven. But it's gonna be very, very interesting as to who wins, and I think it might be a battle of attrition. I
Hmm.
think we might get a shocker here with the Pacers winning. Now, why do I say this? I say this because there's so many injuries and things happening with the Knicks. The Knicks lost one of their centers, Mitchell something.
Hmm.
They obviously have been playing all these guys a lot of minutes. Like, for example, this guy Josh Hart, he played like in the series, he's only been on the bench for 3 minutes
Yeah,
total.
that's crazy.
Something ridiculous. 4 games so far. He's been on the bench for basically 4 minutes. He plays all game. I don't know if unless the Knicks wrap it up in the next 2 games, they have to be very careful because this Indiana team, they have energy, they have
Hmm.
size, and they can shock people. So we might see a Pacers versus Boston final, Eastern Conference final. How
Yeah,
nuts would that be, fam?
that would be insane. Imagine that.
Yeah,
That would be fun to see for sure. Like either one of these teams, the Knicks or Pacers, either one is going to make a fun Eastern Conference final series for sure. With against Boston, as long as Tatum shows up.
That's true. If Tatum doesn't show up, man, we're gonna have some issues, man.
Mm.
And I gotta ask you something though before we close it out. Thank you so much to everybody who's been checking out the podcast, supporting, giving us likes, and now apparently giving us super chats. At this point, Hefe, you gotta give these guys extra high fives at
Right?
work. Something like that. I don't know. You gotta reward them with something.
It was something. You know, the age old thing, have maybe a pizza party or something like that. You know.
Maybe gotta add extra pepperoni or
You know.
something. But I gotta finish off this pod with asking you something that's
Hmm.
completely that you might be an expert on, and I believe your judgment. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
who won the beef?
Oh
Let's
no.
get it. Who won the beef? Get in
Oh
the chat. Tell
man.
me who won the beef.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna say Kendrick.
Mm,
I'm
fair
gonna say
play. Fair
Kendrick.
play.
Yeah, mainly
Why do you
just
have
because
Kendrick
my one of my sons has educated me on the beef and all that stuff. So I got to go with his gut on this one, and it's
winning?
Kendrick for sure. Drake, this guy, see, Marcus, you're just trying to say the opposite of what I'm saying, right?
You know what he's doing though? You know what he's doing? You know what Marcus is doing?
He's being Skip, trying to say everything against Shannon.
He's saying the truth.
Yeah, you think Drake won?
I believe Drake won. Shout out to you, Marcus. You are a truther, and I already like you, bro. I haven't met you, but I like you. What we're talking about here is okay. What I believe is that Drake, because he was rapping against so many people and he had such a harder hill to climb,
Mm.
I believe that made him the winner because he was facing not just Kendrick, but he was facing a lot of other rappers in the beef who were going against him. And I personally believe he released the best track in this entire beef, and that is Family Matters. I believe the best track in the whole beef was Family Matters right over here. And I understand why people say Kendrick won because Kendrick released a fire song, Not Like Us. They're actually using it in NBA promo,
Mm.
like in between ad breaks. They not like us. They not like
Oh,
us. And it kind of makes me think of old school hip hop beefs and rap battles, brother.
mhm.
Like, were you there, Hefe, around the time with the Pac and Biggie situation? Like,
Yeah,
were
yeah.
you like, damn, man,
Oh
you know
man,
what I mean?
that whole like when Biggie got shot, that went like that went into the yearbook as a memorable thing that happened that year into the high school
Mm,
yearbook. Like that was the impact that that beef had, um,
damn.
way back then. You know, we're still talking about it now, and
Mm,
it's crazy. But I don't know. This is the first real beef, I guess I can say, that I've seen coming out of hip hop artists lately. So I, I I don't know. I'm just going with my kid on this one with Kendrick.
damn. I will say this: if we're looking at battles, if the NBA Finals is anything like this battle between Kendrick and Drake, we're in for a treat, fam.
Yeah,
We're
hundred
in
percent.
for a treat because this was amazing. I like the music. I like the vibe. I love the energy. I've been getting flamed on my YouTube because I'm on the Drake side. I've been
You're a
getting
Drake
flamed.
fan.
I'm getting cooked. People are cooking me,
No, you gotta start
but
choosing the correct people now. You know, stop getting this hate. First LeBron, you gotta switch over to MJ, and then Drake switch over to Kendrick. That's all you gotta do.
I mean, you could try. You know what? You could try to convince me. I salute your efforts. You know what I mean? I salute your efforts. You know what I mean? This has been a fantastic episode, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming in. I wanted to give you that little curveball to see what you
Yeah,
thought. You know what I mean? Little, you know
it
what I
was
mean?
crazy because I thought you were gonna put up like a Kobe LeBron, who's the better Laker type of thing, and yeah, so you
Oh,
you caught me off guard with that one.
I caught myself off guard. I didn't even know. I just wanted to. to have a little fun with it to end the
Yeah.
podcast. But we really appreciate each and every person who came in. Shout out to Marcus again with the super chat, Rayo with the super chat, Alexander for coming in and giving some thoughts. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? YTM for coming in as well. Dylan for coming in. We really appreciate y'all. Hey, Hefe, same time, same place next week.
Yes, sir. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get it, man.
Mhm.
Appreciate y'all. It's been Unconfused Hoops Edition. We out.
Peace.